At home, I feel like people are gonna look at me for wearing like wacky colors of makeup, but here it's like the norm to be whoever you are and however you want to express yourself.
It's a universal truth. Everyone wants to belong somewhere. And if you're a teenager exploring gender identity, that somewhere might feel as far away as Mars. But we found it in a summer camp. Sure, it's got bonfires and canoeing and crafts, but Rainbow Camp has something else. It's a place to be, well, just be. The CBC's Joanna Remiliotis explains.
It's a cold morning, and this one begins like every other. Groggy teens and their counselors huddled around a homemade rainbow flag.
All right, send some warm, positive energy to the flag.
Maybe if we send enough warmth, it'll be warm today.
Creating, too, their intentions for the day ahead.
Just standing on this ground.
Yes, there's more than a whiff of mindfulness here. Rainbow Camp is all about self-awareness and unabashed affirmations. Nestled in northern Ontario on the shores of Lake Huron, Rainbow Camp was set up 5 years ago to give LGBTQ kids a place to connect with themselves and each other. It quickly became a haven for teenagers often struggling with their sexuality, and now more than ever, their gender identity.
Okay,
All right.
I'll be like a quartet.
Whoa, go, 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 go. Whoa, go, go, go. Lovely. The biggest change with the amount of trans kids that we have. We've gone from just having a couple to last week I'd say was about between 95 and 98% trans.
Harry Stewart created the camp because he wished there was a place like it for him when he was a young man coming out.
What is it that they need the most when they come here?
Love. You're gonna make me cry, but it's not hard to see that a lot of our campers are really looking for love and respect. And I'm not saying they're not getting that at home, but then in their community, there's a danger and just, hiding. I mean, we're only 50 miles away from Sault Ste. Marie, and my husband and I, we don't hold hands anywhere. It just doesn't feel safe. So I just look at these kids and just think, for them, it's got to be that much harder.
The shift to more trans campers may be due to more awareness about being trans and the fact there's no camp like this in Canada where the focus is to simply have fun. Like most camps, there's swimming and canoeing and bog runs, but not much else is typical. Kids are assigned to cabins by age, not gender. Bathrooms are not gender specific. And everywhere, messages of empowerment. This is an extraordinary opportunity to step further into emerging identities or to simply try one on. Beyond the manicures, a special workshop, Makeup with Maya, a Toronto drag queen.
Your makeup is terrible.
14-year-old Max Yemelyanov's identity is still fluid. He was born a girl, but now says he identifies as a boy. This is Max's second time here. He's from Virginia. This was the closest to what he was looking for. A place to just be.
What's been the hardest part for you personally?
The hardest part is probably changing from my dead name to my preferred name.
What's your dead name?
My dead name is Mary Alice, or just Mary. And changing from that to Max was a difficult process because some people didn't understand that it was more about feeling comfortable gender-wise than just, oh, I want to be called Max because it sounds cooler than Mary.
Like once they learn that he pegged someone, but then like
Many of the kids here struggle with anxiety and depression. The rate of attempted suicide among transgender youth in particular is staggeringly high, 4 times higher than youth in general. Then there's simply the regular adolescent stuff on top of it all. At this activity, campers bury and burn former identities and insecurities.
So it doesn't have to completely burn up, but you should get a good little burning going.
13-year-old Lilith Wall only half jokes she wants to get rid of her love for pasta.
improper mac and cheese ratio. Okay, wait, give me a minute.
That's amazing.
At this point, Lilith identifies as a bisexual female, but her self-image fluctuates too, and that's been hard.
What's the internal battle been?
The internal battle, well, because everyone else seems so perfect, right? So, you know, you think everyone else is thinking about you whenever, like, you do something, right? So yeah, and the reality is that everyone is too busy thinking about themselves to think about you. So really, everyone's judging themselves, and no one's actually judging each other. And that's something I always have to remind myself.
Okay, I'm gonna get away from this.
Lack of judgment, safe space. They are constant mantras here.
I took some of my face off. Oh, it's her. Everybody, this is our gay tutorial. We're just starting.
Tonight's rainbow dance is the first time many can express themselves this freely. The first time many are simply going to a dance as themselves.
We're all bonded by like an integral part of us, which is being in the queer community. A lot of these kids, like, they could be the only out or the only queer kid in their like school that they know of, and just we're all bonded by that one thing.
It's a little iffy, and definitely outside because I feel like people are gonna look at me for wearing like wacky colors of makeup, but here it's like the norm to be whoever you are and however you want to express yourself.
This is the first year the camp raised enough money, $100,000, to run 2 one-week sessions. The money keeps the cost of a one-week session down to $350 a week, or covers it entirely for kids who can't afford it.
Elbows in, knees together, toes
But there's not enough space for everyone who wants to come. The demand for a sense of belonging is striking. So is the joy in finding it.
Makes you emotional.
It does, you know, it makes it all worthwhile. You know, the hours that we put in trying to make camp successful, to get the funding, to get all our ducks in a row every year. And then you have these, you know, glimmers of like, wow, the awe factor. You know, yeah.
Do you think you're changing people's lives?
Yeah, we are. We can see it.
I will remember the camping days I spent with you, my friend. And as the years go by, I'll think of you and sigh. This is good night, but not goodbye. Thanks for the week, campers.
It's always kind of bittersweet. I mean, I'm excited to go back home and see my dog, but I also don't want to leave these people.
Well, I love you, Matt.
Yeah. I'll keep coming here as long as humanly possible. I love you. Oh my God!
Jesus.
No, you're coming so soon.
I'm sorry, I have to get someone's signature.
Okay, all right.
It's only 5 days, but Kate Gemelyanov says she hopes what her child brings home is more lasting.
This is my mom. This is Alex.
Nice to meet you.
He's the best.
Okay, awesome. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Kate.
You're everyone's mom.
Otherwise known as mom.
It just seems like a really positive environment for the kids to just, talk amongst themselves, talk to adults, and just, try on different personas. Yeah, I think that was the sense of possibility and just that the okayness, that was really what Max took away from this.
Kissing a moose down by the bay, where the watermelons go, back to my home, back to my home.
One more hug.
Oh, I missed you so much.
Feeling accepted, Donna Sharon and Philip Wall say kids like their daughter don't take that for granted.
You go have fun.
Having it in this intimate environment, I think it's absolutely wonderful for the kids just to gain insight, have them answer some questions, give them something to think with some quiet time around them.
I think this experience specifically is very important because if anything, we need to teach our kids that they should be safe, that anything but that is unacceptable. So if you're in an environment that you don't feel safe or it's causing you anxiety, you're not supposed to be there. That shouldn't be that way. If they don't realize at a young enough age that isn't right, they tend to accept it, and that hurts them as a person, right? Because you're accepting something you shouldn't have to accept.
Yeah.
All right, cool, thanks. Okay, I'm gonna be taking home more self-expression and many, many memories and new friendships. Now when I leave, I feel more like I can be myself out in public, right? I can express myself in a lot more ways.
Is that good?
Yeah, it feels really good.
And that inner voice may be their most valuable guide as they keep defining their way. Joanna Brumeliotis, CBC News, Thessalon, Ontario.
Extraordinary.